Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Wix and back with another video. It's been a while since my last confession, video, but you know, life gets in the way, but we're back now. And today I have a video about the task scheduler in Windows. This will be part of my Windows Advanced series of videos, tutorials, whatever you want to call them, because they're not either, but anyway. So let's talk about Task Scheduler. Task Scheduler is a component of Windows, I want to say. It's not really a component because it comes with Windows, so everybody has this. I'm not sure if the Home Edition is missing it, but I'm pretty sure all Windows has this. So it's basically a service, let's call it that, that tells Windows to execute certain tasks on a schedule, which is why it's Task Scheduler. So let's see, how do we open this? Just go to Start menu, type Task Scheduler, press enter, and boom, we have Task Scheduler. This is Task Scheduler. This is the UI where you can configure or view current set tasks. As an example, I will just show, let me make this bigger. Please, Windows, work with me. Oh, I'm pressing wrong buttons. Okay, so basically Microsoft has already added a bunch of scheduled tasks for everything, because this is part of Windows, so Windows uses it itself to, I don't know, from time to time check for updates, from time to time run a disk check, make sure nothing's corrupted, from time to time, and so on. And you can also, there's a key in here where you can run tasks when the user logs in. There's a bunch of triggers that you can set, but just to show, Microsoft has a lot of them in here. These are not actual tasks, these are folders, but if you click on one, see, these are the actual tasks that Microsoft set. Encrypt all drives, it's a custom trigger. You're gonna have to go down here to triggers to see, well, the custom ones don't show, but you can right click on it and you can see where it starts. Triggers, edit, can I be edited with, okay, so Microsoft has their more advanced triggers, I guess, but let's move past that. Microsoft already has tasks, just know that. And I'll show what you can do with it, and then I'll show some examples that are already done by Mozilla, for example. I'll show them after. So what can you do? How do you make a new task, and why would you want to create a scheduled task? An example, I'll show two examples today. One of them would be, you want to start an application when you log on to the PC. When you log in, you want to auto start an application. Of course, there's multiple ways to do that. You can put it in run once, you can put it in run, you can put it in startup folder. There's multiple ways of doing that in Windows. And Malware knows all of them, because that's where they go. But if you want to do it with a scheduled task, I'll show that. And also, one of the ideas that I had, or that you might actually, and I might actually use a scheduled task, was from time to time to move my photos from the new photos. Let's say you copy a bunch of photos to your PC, and you want from time to time those photos to be moved to your library, or I don't know, or deleted if they're older than a certain date, stuff like that. You can use a scheduled task to do that for you. And let's see how we do that. In order to do that, we're gonna need, in this case I won't have that script, but you can make a PowerShell script to check a folder and see which files are older than a certain date and delete them. So the actual action itself, what it does, you can do that with a PowerShell script, no problem, do whatever. How you get it to run, that's a different thing. So let's see, let's make a new task. Let's go to action, create task. We're not gonna, basic task is basically a simplified version of a task, but we're gonna go to the advanced one. Create task, and then you get this window. Let me hide this thing. Okay, so what do we have to do here? Let's give it a name. Let's give it, I don't know, my new task. And what you can do in here, so on the general tab, you can give it a name, description. This is the user that's making it, the author. Location is the folder. I really don't want to make it in Microsoft, so let's just select the task scheduler library and create task. I mean, actually, I'll show on ones that I already made, because these are all made by me as a demo. So let's start with this one is disabled. So you can disable tasks. If you see them here, you can delete them. You can disable, enable. You can export them and import them on a different PC if you want to move them without recreating. You can see their properties. This is from the big list, but let's go to properties and see how this one is set up. So what we have here is the name of the task, who made it. I didn't set it in the description. Now you can set security options. Use the following user account to run the task. This is my current logged in user because it's a VM. My name is Johnny. Hello. And then you can say run this task only when the user is logged on. So maybe if the dude is or dudette is not logged into the PC, you don't want to run the task. That's what I said here. You can set if you want to run the task no matter if anybody is logged into the PC or not. You can set it to run with admin privileges if you want. This one, I wouldn't worry about it. It's just for backwards compatibility. Just do the Windows 10 and we're good. The hidden, it will hide the task from here, but I wouldn't suggest you do that because then it's hard to get it back. Then the triggers. So these are basically who to run it as, when to run it depending on the user, and then we move on. Triggers. What triggers do is tell task scheduler when to run the task. What triggers the execution of this task. And we have a lot of them. I'll just do an edit here to show you. My current task says begin it when a user logs in. And I want to only run as this user. So if this user logs in, then trigger my task. And you have some advanced settings. You can delay it for like 15 minutes. Let's say user logged in and you want the task to run after 15 minutes after he logged in. You can do that here. You can repeat it every hour for a specified duration. Let's say I want to start it now, but after it's done, just do it again and again every hour for 3 days. I don't know why you want to do that, but you can. Then you can stop it if it runs for longer than a specific period. Maybe it's a task that does some data processing or something that takes a long time. You can tell, hey, stop it if it's ran longer than this. You can choose a schedule for it to be active or not. So if I just say activate after a certain date, then when that user logs in before that date, it won't trigger. After that date, it will trigger. And also expire. So if you want to run the task only for 2 months, for example, you can set it here and say, hey, expire it after 2 months, and then it won't run again. And if the trigger is enabled or not. This is not for the task, this is for the trigger. Because you can add multiple triggers for the same task. You can run a task when the user logs in. You can run it when he logs out, when whatever. And then you choose which triggers are enabled. So these are triggers. To repeat, triggers are what triggers the task to run. Then actions. What do you want to happen when the task is triggered? And in my case, I have set a PowerShell script to run. So this is the PowerShell program. This is my script. I'll show the script later. So basically right now it's set to start a program. And then you said what program you want to start. You have a lot of, actually not a lot because these are the pre-created. Yeah, so you can just start a program. But let me go back because I forgot to show something here. Because I only showed it at logon when to begin the task. But you have a lot of options. You can do it at the PC startup. So, okay, cancel that. You can do it at the PC startup. You can do it on idle when the PC gets idle. You can do it on an event that happens in Windows. You can do it when a task is created or modified. You can trigger an action. When a user connects to a remote station, disconnects, workstation lock, workstation unlock, and on a schedule. This is the one that I mentioned when you want to run it from time to time. You can run it daily, you can run it weekly, monthly. For example, a monthly example for task would be to check the temp folder in Windows and have a task that checks every month and deletes everything in there. That could be a thing that you can do. But mostly the more practical option would be either the temp deletion, the downloads folder deletion every month, or moving file. Let's say you download or have a folder where you store your picture. You go out for a photo session, come back, put the pictures in there, and then you edit a few and move them out of there. You want whatever's left in there to be deleted because you don't want to use them. You can do a scheduled task to do that for you every month. But yeah, there's a lot of ways you can trigger a task. And that's it. I'll cancel this one because I want mine and log on because I'm going to demo it. And then whatever you want to run here, you can do. Let's edit it just to show start a program. This is just because I want to run a PowerShell script. But you can also browse and go to a specific executable in Windows. You can run anything. But I just want to run this PowerShell. And then you have conditions. For conditions, these are additional conditions that affect if the task gets ran or not. So you can tell it, hey, only start the task if the computer was idle for like 10 minutes or whatever. Basically, I think Windows Update does this. It checks, hey, this computer is idle. Let's go quickly check for updates and sneak them in. Or you can only start the tasks if the computer is on AC power. Let's say you're on a laptop and you don't want to use battery in the background. Just click this only when it's on AC power and wake the computer. This is basically if the computer is sleeping, you can wake it and run the task. And you can allow the task to run only if the computer is connected to a specified network, for example. You can do whatever. And then on settings, you have different settings for the task. Allow it to be run on demand. This is basically if you want to allow it to be ran when the user wants and not wait for the trigger. And you do that by right clicking and run. If you change that there, you won't be able to run it manually. Run as soon as possible after a scheduled start is missed. In some cases, let's say the task can't run at when it should have triggered. And this just makes it so the task scheduler remembers, oh, I should have triggered that task, but I couldn't. But as soon as I can, I will. And check this. If the task fails, you can restart it. And you can run a task multiple times. That's why this is here. Do not start a new instance. Let's say you start a task that processes some data or moves some files. And then it triggers again. This is set to not start another data processing task or whatever task you set. Just if one is already running, don't do anything, basically. If stop the task if you're on longer than a specific period, if the running task does not end when requested, force it to stop. So basically, if it hangs, just kill it. If the task is not scheduled to run again, delete it after 30 days. So basically, if a task scheduler sees that your task is not scheduled to run anymore, let's say you did a run once task, and task scheduler sees, hey, this task will never run again, then you can delete it after 30 days of not running. And that's basically it. Let me see. In this case, yeah, see, task scheduler knows. It will show you when it ran last, when it's scheduled to run next, if you have a scheduled one for the future. For mine, which is at log on, that I did this one is at log on, it doesn't have a next run time because it's not based on time, it's based on what you do in the PC. And then you have a last run result, which is successfully author, who did it, and when it was created, so some log. On the right side here we have a bunch of options that you can do: display or running task, create, import, new folder to organize them, run, and it's basically what you can do from right clicking on them here, and by using this menu it's the same thing on the right side. Display or running from here, enable all task history. But okay, let's see this one in action. So this will be the start calc basic, which is set to run at logon of my user, and it's set to run a PowerShell. In this PowerShell, I'll show the PowerShell. Let me, let's run Notepadino. So basically this PowerShell just runs calculator, and then it waits for a key, so it doesn't close immediately. Alright, let's close this, and I'll zoom out, and I'll log out of my user, sign out, and then we go back in, and now calculator should start. Boom. It started PowerShell, started calculator, and it's waiting for a key. And that's what I told it to do. Now this should close. Good. So that is one example of running. Let's go task scheduler again. Task scheduler. Let's do another zoomy zoom. And that's one example of a task set to run at logon. A more advanced way of reacting to stuff is this task, which is run something when an event happens in Windows. And what I set this for is to run whenever I plug an USB stick in. And for that, it's the same thing, same screen, same settings. You choose, you trigger, you choose the actions, you choose the conditions, settings, same stuff. But for the event thing, let's edit this trigger, because this is the harder part of task scheduling. Because you won't know, for Windows at least, I had to do a bit of research to realize that whenever you connect a USB stick, this source of events gets triggered, and it triggers one of these events, and it's in the device setup manager log. To see, I'll show it in action first. So we're saying on an event from this log. This log is linked to the event viewer in Windows as this source of the log and this event ID. And then whenever this event happens, this task will run calculator, because I have in actions, I have started a program, and I set calculator then. And just to demo it, let me fix my hair first, and let me plug in an USB, and the virtual machine should never get it the first try. Okay, so I'll connect it to the virtual machine. Okay, and now we should see calculator start. There it is. It's down here. I don't know if you saw it, but it started. Oh, you didn't see it because the window is cropped. But it did start it automatically when I plugged in the USB. So let's eject or eject. How do you say that? English is not my first language. So yeah, basically you can get tasks to run on Windows events, and for this one I did it on the USB stick plugged in event. Well, to be honest, it's not only that event, it will react to any hardware event that is triggered from this device setup manager. So you better be careful. If you want a specific USB one, there's more digging to do, but I didn't want to do it now. I'll just show some hints towards finding these events. And to find these events, you go to event viewer, for example. And in event viewer, I did some custom views here to actually, let's go like this. So I'm going to event viewer local, I'm going to information, and then in here you go to device manager, and on the right you selected the device manager. I mean, you can do it from here as well. No, not device management, sorry, driver something setup. Thing is, you gotta do a bit of research and see what gets triggered from whom in Windows when a USB is plugged in. From what I read on the internet, it's this one, the device setup, driver setup. I can't find it now, but it's in here. Oh, there it is. It's in here. View all instances, and then you can right click and say attach a task to this event, and it will create a task in task scheduler for you. Basically, you can do it from here as well. But what you're telling it is, well, if you go down here, this has the event 112. So if you want to react to this one, we're gonna have to put this ID in the trigger in the task scheduler. And basically that's how you see what ID to put there. But you have to do some research. You have to look for stuff. For example, when a USB device is removed, you get one of these events, the kernel PNP plug and play events, one of these 10. That's the idea of this event. You get one of these when a USB is removed. But when a USB is added, you get one of those driver setup management events. So depending on what you want to do with the Windows events, it might get complicated because they're not really well documented. I dug around a bit to find the USB one. But yeah, you can do it if you connect. Maybe, I mean, this is an idea if you want to be notified if anybody plugged in something to the PC, you can have an email sent from PowerShell, for example. That's one use case I can think of, just to get notified by a task when somebody plugs in something to the PC. That's one idea. But yeah, you can do a lot of, you can attach to any event in Windows basically, or almost any. I don't know of any that you can't attach to, but you can do. You can attach to events and have a task scheduler run programs when something happens in Windows, for example. And just as a fun fact, as an asterisk, let's look at Mozilla, and they're not the only ones that do this. Which one is which? Which is the switch that switches the witch's light off? Let's look at Mozilla here. This is Firefox, and as you can see, when Firefox installs, it adds some tasks that are set to run from time to time. And what they do, we can now actually check actions. What do we do? Firefox, blah blah blah, sync prepend head. Let's edit this and see the entire thing. Background task, background update. So basically this task starts, let's see the trigger, on a schedule one time. This one is just one time apparently. Oh yeah, one time per day. And it repeats every 7 hours indefinitely. So every 7 hours at this time of day, my Firefox will run the background update checker. I mean, not my Firefox, task scheduler will run the Firefox background update checker. And this is how Firefox makes sure it stays up to date. It just made some scheduled tasks. Everybody uses scheduled tasks, and sometimes even malware uses scheduled tasks. I don't have any to show, but malware usually puts some tasks in here in Windows. Depending on what it does, malware can add to scheduled tasks. So if you see any suspicious runs, you can go here, and if you see any at task scheduler local, and then look at what's active, and you can see the location of the things right here. So if you see any weird one, no, this is the location in the folder, like where on this left side is it. But you can probably, let me see, no, I can't do it here. But anyway, if you see a task here and you think, ah, that shouldn't run, you can go look for it in the left side and check when it's scheduled to run, what exactly it's running, because that's the most important thing. Let's see, let's pick exploit guard. Oh, it does have one. And see, this one has multiple triggers defined. Has 2 customs and 1 as startup. But when you check actions, well, this one is a Microsoft one, so I don't think it will show us why. Yeah, it's not running. But for malware, usually they won't be able to do custom stuff like that, and you can check what it runs exactly, where the executable is. Let's see, can I see it this? Actions, no, custom handler. So yeah, usually for malware you will see what it runs, just like our normal one. You can just properties on it and go to actions and check what it runs. It will have, malware usually has an executable here that it runs. And that's about it about Task Scheduler. Hope you found something new out. If not, then good for you. And yeah, this is a second video in my Windows Advanced series. I'm gonna continue something else. I don't have a plan yet, but gonna go through all of them in Windows, to the more advanced topics. So I'll catch you in the next one. Toodoo.